When my fifth child was born, I specifically remember a period of time that was so difficult because she would not sleep at all unless someone was holding her. So, for a period of about 5 weeks, somebody had to hold her 24/7. And my husband and I would take turns at night sleeping in the recliner in our room, holding her and trying to get the best sleep that we possibly could, which wasn't very good. At least for me, I was worried about dropping her. I finally would get into to a deep sleep, then my arms would just start to relax and I'd wake up and even though I was kind of, reclined, I still was worried I was going to drop her or she'd fall down out of my hands. And so that 5 weeks was so hard. They were so difficult. I just remember posting on Facebook in my personal page just saying, if anyone finds me wandering around the neighborhood with my clothes on backwards and I'm speaking gibberish, please just pat me on the hand, take me home. I'm okay. I'm just really, really tired. And I live very far from family. I'm about 1,000 miles from my nearest relatives and my parents and siblings and even further than that too. But it's hard to be far away and not have an easy, like with a family member, it feels easy to say, hey, could you come help me with this for an hour? Can you sit with my children so I can fall asleep and take a nap? So all my years of raising babies, and I have 6 children over a 14-year span. So for 14 years, I was having babies, but then if you add on like 3 more years, because it was a good 3 or 4 years before my youngest son, number 6 of my children, was sleeping through the night and not waking me up, every night. So that's a long time, like 17, 18 years of poor sleep and interrupted nights and staying up later and then realizing, oh no, the baby's in the long stretch of sleep that we called the big sleep, and we've missed it because it started at 5 p.m. And look, they just slept 5 hours and we missed it. So I just have a lot of fuzzy memories about these early years. My name is Michelle Cox, and not only am I a mother of 6, but I am a certified life coach. And as I've learned so much more about the brain and our nervous system, I've come to understand exactly why sleep or lack of sleep or poor sleep, broken sleep can have a huge impact on our mental wellness, our emotional state, and our nervous system resilience. I wish I had understood more back then as I do now, but I'm glad to be able to say I'm learning and I'm growing. And I hope that you can take this knowledge that I share, this information, and apply it to your life. If this is something that you struggle with, and I do still, and I'll be honest about that, this is something that's still a challenge for me. But the more I understand the importance of sleep, the easier it does become to say to myself, I want to keep working on this project, or I want to keep reading, or I want to keep scrolling, but I really do need sleep. If I'm going to be resilient tomorrow, if I'm going to show up better for my family members and to have a greater sense of courage and capacity that I can do things, then I need to shut everything down and go to bed. And that's really what I'm going to need and what's really going to help me feel better. So, the first thing I want to share about sleep and why this is on this chart, 5 keys to nervous system support. Sleep is on here, and it's not in any sort of order of importance. This is just a list. And I want to give a shout out to Leah Davidson, who is a nervous system expert. And this is what I've gained from her teachings, and I really appreciate all that she's done to help educate me as I have read more of her work. And she talks about sleep because sleep is when our brains can literally repair. Our brains are made out of neurons and they're very malleable. They're flexible. They can bend, they can stretch, they can get thicker and denser. They can get weaker and thinner, and they can even break. And so, because our brains are so special, so pliable, they can break, but they can also repair. And that's the good news. However, that growth is and repair is more likely to happen when we are resting and totally asleep. We can't just be lying down with our phone or watching TV. That's not sleep and it's not the same. I do recall when I was a college student, one of my professors talking about sleep and brain waves and brain activity. And I remember him saying how when we are watching TV, we can get into such a trance-like state, it's almost like sleeping. So think about that. It's almost like sleeping, but it's not. And so if we do spend a lot of time, what we think is resting, watching TV on our phones, scrolling or enjoying, I don't know, the endless parade on Pinterest and Instagram, we're not going to have the same kind of restorative experience as actually going to sleep. So if we find ourselves staying up really late, scrolling and scrolling, and we feel like we're resting, we're relaxing, we're chilling out, but we're not repairing our brains. In fact, all the stimulation of the light, the content, we're still feeding information to our brain, and our brain has to process it. So even though we can get into a sort of a trance-like state, we're still bringing in information that our brain has to figure out what to do with. Now, this is really important to understand. Even though as adults we have stopped growing, we've hit our growth peak, we're done, we still have the growth hormone secreted in our bodies every night. And as a child, we needed that growth hormone, obviously, to get bigger, to grow longer bones and muscles, and to expand our size. And the really important thing to understand is that as adults, that's still being produced, it's still being secreted into our bodies. But the point now is that it's helping to declutter our short-term memory. So when we sleep, and this is interesting, so the growth hormone is really only secreted between about 10 p.m. and midnight. So if we're awake during that time period consistently, then consistently we're going to miss out on this rush of growth hormone and not be able to allow it to repair our brains and to file away all the information and stimulation that we've had all day long and put it, filed away into long-term storage. That means that if we're missing that secretion of the growth hormone, our brain is going to be cluttered the next day. And throughout the next day, we'll have trouble fitting more short-term memory information, which is like the instant stuff that we're getting out all throughout the day, and being able to adequately use it and put it into long-term storage that next night. So if you find yourself having difficulty being able to recall information, to remember names, to keep up with tasks and assignments, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. You find yourself doing that a lot. Take a look at your sleep pattern. What are you doing between 10 and midnight? Are you awake? What are you doing? Are you doing something really stimulating for your brain? Are you relaxing? Either way, you're preventing your body from having that critical window when the short-term memory storage can get decluttered, cleared out, and prepared for a new day. So think about your kids. If you have children who are in school, they might find themselves having difficulty learning new information at school the next day when they've been allowed to stay up late and watch TV or play video games without any sort of limitation. When we don't provide that guidance for our children, they're going to just keep doing it. It feels good. They're going to go after that dopamine hit, right? There's that next boss to beat. There's that next level to conquer. There's that next suit to get. I don't know. I don't play video games. I can't stand it. And I can't figure out the controllers, so I just don't. I could just give up. But if your child is in a pattern of consistently being up very late into late early morning hours, just watching movies, YouTube, TikToks, whatever it is, they're on screens, they're not sleeping, they will have a harder time learning the next day. That short-term memory that absorbs all the instant information they're getting in each of their classes throughout the school day has nowhere to go. That information gets clogged. They can't really process it. They can't really put it into that longer term storage and learn that skill and learn that material and master it. They will have a harder time. So as parents, we have that obligation and that responsibility, helping our children to set a healthy sleep schedule. And you can find lots of information from the American Academy of Pediatrics. You can talk to your own pediatrician. There's a lot of resources you can find online. Healthy sleep habits for children. You'll see that young children need a lot of sleep. So my goal as a mother when I had a baby was to eventually help them to sleep 12 hours straight. Oh, when we finally could get to that point and and have 12 hours of a sleeping baby, it was miraculous. It felt wonderful. We could get a lot of our own sleep done, that we could get it within that window. We could get a lot of tasks done, in that early part of the evening when they first go to sleep. So my kids, it was usually like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. That was more or less what we were aiming for. And I was a gentle sleep trainer. I wasn't super regimental. And I didn't like a lot of tactics of just letting the child cry until they fall asleep. Until they were older, then we'd do some more training that way. But as a new baby, I didn't do that. But also with my children, my older kids, so like elementary age, as they move into that stage, they're up later, there's more activities going on, and they might be in sports and different things. But still aiming for about 8 p.m., 8:30 to be calming down, lights are off. Maybe I'll read to them in the dark, have a phone light on, read in the dark, let that be a little bit of a bonding period before they go to sleep. And that's what we love to do. And then they'd get up 6:30, 6:45 for school, something like that. And everybody's schedule is going to be different, but you want to still look at the quality of their sleep. You want to make sure that in the bedroom, there's nothing that's going to distract them and be easy access to preventing them from sleeping. So if there's a TV in the room, I highly recommend you take it out. And if they have a phone or a tablet or any other kind of device, you should have it in your room charging so that there's not that easy access and easy grabbing of their attention to want to keep playing and keep doing things when they need that sleep, right? We want them to succeed in school. We want them to learn and to feel confident in themselves. A sleep-deprived child is not going to feel very confident. They can feel that struggle to learn. They can feel that it's hard to take in and remember what they're being taught. So you're doing your child a huge act of love by setting limits and giving them guidance on when they should be awake or when they should be asleep. And it does change as they get older. I'll give a lot more freedom to my teenagers, like my older high schoolers will have a lot more freedom because I want them to learn. Sometimes they're going to learn a little bit the hard way, but we do still have some limits. And so the best thing we can do for our children is to model it ourselves. And I'm speaking to myself. I'm not perfect at this at all, but it is something that I am working on and I want to be more conscientious about. But because I know how easy it is, like, oh, finally everybody's in bed. Now I can just relax. I can watch a show or I can do something else that's just going to keep me awake instead of really the best thing for me would be to go to sleep. So I know that I have that challenge. I understand it. The other thing I want to talk about is the impact on mental health and emotional wellness. When we talk about our emotions, we're talking about how we feel in our body. Emotions are not just a vapor that sort of exists around us and we're sort of sitting in this vapor. Our emotions are a collection of physical symptoms and experiences. So the way my heart is beating is part of my emotional experience. The way my lungs are moving in and out and taking in air and processing it, that's going to be part of my emotional experience. The way my muscles might tighten up or relax. The combination of things is what we'll call and label a particular emotion. And especially as it's connected to the thoughts that are creating that emotion, that experience. So if we want to see our children to be more emotionally balanced, they're able to handle a challenging situation in a more balanced way, we're going to expect for children to be upset. And sometimes they're going to be really vocal and very demonstrative about it. But if at the most, if the pattern is that they're okay, they can be consoled, they can be comforted, they can okay, be reassured and move on, and it's okay. Now we're moving on to the next thing. Everything's fine, even though they didn't get their way about something. The more that they can learn how to be able to ebb and flow with life, that is what that's kind of a gold standard. That's resiliency. That's when they're able to handle that disappointment without going to level 10 anger and just not being able to be consoled. When a child is getting adequate sleep, their nervous system is going to flow and hum and buzz, or whatever adjective or verb we want to attach to our nervous system. It's going to function more smoothly. And our brain is part of that nervous system. Our brain is going to be able to activate and say, it's okay that I'm not getting my way. It's okay that something isn't perfect. It's okay that I made a mistake and I'm being taught a better way to do this. It's okay that this friend wants to play with someone else this time. When a brain is able to kind of reason and work through these disappointments, that child is going to feel more safe inside their body. And sleep is a precious way to really nurture your body, which will then support from the bottom up, from the body to the brain, to continue to provide these signals and messages that we're safe, that things are okay. Our body has a tremendous capacity to influence our thinking. And so when we care for our body, when we're giving it time to rest, and real sleep, without devices, then that feeling of wellness will provide that signal from the body to the brain to remind the threat response in the brain, the amygdala, that everything is okay, that I can handle these challenges. This thing is hard. This is disappointing, or this is undesirable, but I'm going to find a way to work around it. I'm going to find a way to work through it. I'm going to find a way to resolve it. And it's just an internal instinct that we can live within. And we're more likely to be able to do that when we're allowing our brain to rest and allowing our body to repair, and all the systems, I always say they're all connected. So sleep helps to support that incredible, very complex system that is our bodies. So I want you to now, as a life coach, I'm going to give you a little challenge, a little push your paradigm a little bit. What is it that you normally turn to do when you think this is going to help me to feel better? It's going to give me some rest, or I'm going to just relax and watch the show, or what is it that you might turn to instead of allowing yourself to just turn the light off and go to sleep? What could it be? And I kind of think of this as like a self-indulgence. Instead of really taking the best care of myself that I could, and I'm like, but I just want to watch a movie. I just want to watch a show. That's what I want to do, even though I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, it's already 11. But if I watch just one episode, it won't be midnight yet, right? When I finish. And honestly, I've started to notice this about myself. That's actually kind of a self-indulgent thing. It's not really healthy. It's not really helping me. So if I'm looking for this desperate, I just want some point in the day where I'm really just taking care of myself, or just having some great fun. I'm not working, I'm not busy, I'm not cleaning dishes and all that stuff. then I need to look at how I'm using my time throughout the day to allow some periods of rest. If I'm not resting throughout the day and I feel like I've neglected myself all day, and finally everybody's in their beds and now it's getting kind of late and I'm like, now I want to do my self-care and just like watch a movie, which is so fun because you're in that like trance-like state and you're just being spoon-fed all this dopamine and wonder and excitement maybe, right? So there's something else to look at throughout the day. What has your pattern been like? Have you been allowing yourself to take a break from working or just the load that you have that you're bearing? Does it look like sitting down with your children and playing a card game? That can be fun and restful. Have that little break so that by the time you go to bed, you're not feeling like you've had this deficit of entertainment. And now I have to find some way to entertain myself because I didn't at all yet today. Whew. But we also live in an age where we think we should be entertained at all times. And so we have to be really careful of that. We don't have to watch TV every day. We don't have to get on social media every day. And and the quality of our interaction with other people will bring that rest, that the kind of that reviving feeling throughout the day, so that at the end, 10 o'clock, 10:30, you feel like, all right, I'm satisfied. I'm going to go to sleep now. Maybe I've hit on this. I've had some connection. So that feels like it's been fulfilled today. So I don't need to stay up later trying to find some sort of connection with somebody. Texting late at night or calling, FaceTiming a friend who's also should be sleeping, or a family member. And so all these things, especially with movement, if we've done a lot of movement throughout the day, we've gotten exercise, we've been active, then our body will feel like it's fulfilled that that responsibility, and now I can sleep. And the more we can take care of that part, we tend to expend enough energy by exercising, by just being busy, and not just busy, but being active in our life, taking care of things. Oh, now I feel that tired feeling, and my body will say, yeah, I really want to sleep. I've noticed that if I don't exercise and I've let other things take over my time, and I don't exercise for a good week or two, my sleep isn't as good. And when I get back to exercising, whoo, I sleep a lot deeper because I'm tired. I've expended some energy. Um, so consider that. And when it comes to nutrition and sleep, a lot of people I talk to say, I can't drink coffee, I can't drink caffeinated sodas or anything after a certain time because then I know it's going to keep me awake. So be aware also of what are foods, drinks that you might be ingesting, and see what time of day, how late in the evening am I taking this in, and then it's affecting my sleep. There are a lot of ways that we can improve our sleep. And that's a big part of it, looking at what we're eating, when we're eating it, what we're drinking, when we're drinking it, what activities we're doing that are really stimulating for our brain, when we really need to start calming things down about an hour before we try to go to sleep. And also, like I talked about in the sunlight episode last episode, when you get sunlight into your eyes in the morning as early on as you can, depending on time of year, but if you can get sunlight into your eyes earlier on in the day, then that triggers 12 hours later. Now it's time to start slowing down and preparing for sleep, and your brain will get into that good circadian rhythm. Your whole body will be in that rhythm, right? And then you'll be able to sleep better. So there are lots of ways to improve sleep, but it's also a big part of it as a mindset coach, life coach, whatever I want to call myself, is to consider what your beliefs are about sleep and what habits you are operating out of, and and what is your level of self-respect and self-responsibility. Do you feel that sense of accountability? My health is a result, in a great measure, not 100%, but in great measure, my own actions. What actions do I need to continue so I can have better sleep and have better health? Well, where do I need to scale back or eliminate different things, different choices that we can make? Our agency is the ability to choose to behave in a certain way, to think in a certain way. And so when we're using our agency and deciding this isn't good for me, we become stronger and more resilient because we feel that self-trust. It's just there. It's inside of us, and it motivates and ennobles us. When we don't follow what we know would be better, we lose some of that feeling of self-respect, and we start to feel more negative about ourselves and maybe feel less inclined to want to care for ourselves. We don't feel like we deserve it. And that's a scary place to go. And I want to encourage you that when you notice that you're doing these self-sabotaging things, choosing to engage in behaviors that are going to harm you or lessen your ability to feel well, I would encourage you in those moments to really take some time to be still and to be quiet and to meditate and explore what is it that's holding you back, and really consider in that moment of like reflecting, what are messages that maybe you've received from other people that have kind of contributed to your feeling unworthy or undeserving. And I want you to take a minute to really consider those thoughts, those messages, and question them. Are they true? Is it true what somebody may have said to you that really dimmed your light? Is it true? And the more that you explore who you are, your beautiful value as a human being, you'll be able to say, that's not true. I know who I am. I'm going to take care of myself and in a loving and a compassionate way. I'm going to allow myself to learn and grow. I'm going to allow myself to make mistakes and learn from them. I'm going to take better care. I'm going to take action to establish healthy relationships and connection. I'm going to give myself that gift of health by choosing what I'm eating, choosing better sleep patterns, and choosing to turn things off, set things aside, and give myself the most nourishing environment that I can. I deserve it. I'm worthy of it. So, as a life coach, I encourage you to consider the way that you're thinking about yourself and see how adopting healthier, supportive beliefs changes how you feel in your body and motivates you to take better care, to take action, to deny those dopamine inducing behaviors and foods that could impede you in your quest for better health, including sleep. Notice what the roadblocks are, and then have that courage to say, I do have the choice to set these roadblocks aside and go forward, choosing a better way, making my way and heading straight into that goal that I have. And if you have questions about that, and I love being able to answer questions. I love it when I get texts or emails or private messages. So feel free to do that. And check out my new workbook called Making Sense of Your Internal Experience. I use it like a teaching manual, and when I'm doing public presentations and workshops, and it's something that is designed for an individual to learn on their own and to process on their own, learn how to make sense of everything. The whole workbook will guide you through understanding certain areas of the brain, why we think and feel the way we do, and then helps you to use this thought cycle diagram. See, let me get my camera right. And throughout the workbook, you'll see how to use this diagram. And there's a fun example, a fictional scenario that we're working through our book, so that you understand how that works and how your thinking and your emotions are connected. And your behavior is a natural result of the thinking and the emotions that you're carrying. So if you want to feel better in your body, have a stronger, more resilient mindset of self-belief and self-trust, I highly recommend you check out this book. I'll put links in the comments and in the description so that you can find this on Amazon and work through it on your own. I also offer workbook calls, I say, on through my website, michellecoxmindset.com. And you can sign up for the next one so that you can come with your copy. We'll be on Zoom as a group. We do group coaching. And then I can help explain how to use this cycle and process what is it that I'm hanging on to, these old thoughts, these old patterns that are not serving me anymore, that have really been driving me down and dragging me down. And I want to move forward and not feel so stuck. So I recommend making sense of your internal experience. Join a workbook call and we'll get together and we'll have a great time. And you'll get to witness some live coaching. And so you get to see what is coaching? How does it work? Well, just come to the workbook call and you'll see how the process goes. You'll get to process your own thinking and make sense of it all and find more peace and resilience within you. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time on Let's Talk.